to class 11 of the Forge It web series workshop. This is the third class in the third section or week of the workshop. It's the Take Action section, when we talk about the cast and crew that are going to make your project happen. Today we're going to further explore working with actors. Why? Well, because whether you're just going to be the writer, the director, or the cinematographer, or a combination of all of those, you're going to have to work with actors. Very few of us intend to write a series where we are the only actor. I don't think that's really a series. That's more of a video blog. But you know what? You could act in your own series. You're still going to need to know how to deal with actors, how to push yourself for the best possible performance. Okay, let's jump in. One of the things that people rarely have the time or budget for, or at least they think they don't have the time or budget for, are table reads. A table read is when the script is done, you gather all the cast and sometimes even the crew together. You all sit around a table and you read through the script. As the director, you're going to want to be directing the actors, not about actions. They're not going to be doing any actions, any movement, but about their voice. You're going to want to be writing them out notes, a director's notes, on index cards that you can then give them at the end of the day, so that they remember that particular line. You want it to be very angry, very fast. This line, they need to cut that other actor off. It's very important. Those are director's notes. They're great when they first come at a table read. Also, actors can then ask you questions as the director about pronunciation or backstory or emotional resonance. You want that. A table read doesn't cost a lot. It usually, for politeness' sake, costs food and drink. You don't usually pay your actors for a table read, by and large. But it can be incredibly valuable to have the group together and go through everything for the first time there around a table, as opposed to on location where the clock is ticking, the weather might be against you, the daylight might be against you. Rehearsal. Rehearsal is almost entirely unheard of in film and web series work. A rehearsal is when you literally rehearse the scene at the location where you're going to shoot it. But if you have the opportunity to do this, do it. Because if you then do that, the chances of you having unforeseen difficulties with how to light the scene or what kind of bizarre background sound you might run into, they become so small, those percentages, that something will go wrong. If it's possible, do it. Now, for rehearsal, you might want to consider giving your actors a stipend, an amount of money that would cover their transportation there. Even if it's not a 4-hour day, you might want to provide food and drink. You know, again, rehearsal is work. And so it's really on that fine line between whether you should be paying your people or not. You might even want to sit down and talk with them all about that. So let's go beyond that, though. Again, I did mention director's notes again at rehearsal. You can give additional notes. Try not to contradict yourself. If you gave someone one note at the table read and you dramatically change that note at the rehearsal, or say at a second table read or on the set, verbalize to them that you understand, that you are changing your mind, which is perfectly fine, but don't make them feel like you don't know what you want, and don't make them feel like they've done something wrong. Again, as a director, the morale of the actors rests on your shoulders. You want to encourage them, not tear them down. That's not going to get you the best performances. Now, in terms of our actors, I'm both now going to talk about our actors and our characters, how to get our actors to most fully embody their characters. This is work that both the director and writer should be involved in and aware of. I like to call them character sheets, but I understand that usually in the industry they're called character profiles. The writer writes them out originally, the director adds to them, revises them, they work together. You should have a character sheet, character profile, for all of your characters. Sometimes it even includes a photograph, maybe a photograph of the actor in costume, or a sketch or an idea, maybe even a picture of another character from another series, even though I do try to avoid that because I want to make sure my characters are original. These sheets cover things that are unique to the characters, because in that way the director can look at that sheet and know, these are the things I want to draw out of this actor so that they can fully embody this character. I'm going to go through the list first quickly, and then I'm going to come back and provide a little bit more detail. So each of your characters may have unique elements in each of these areas. Probably the best characters have unique elements in all of these areas. Inflection or accents, poise, movement, improv. I know that seems a little off the list, but we'll come back to it. Expressions, habits, appearance. Now, let's just start at the beginning. Inflection and accents. Now, not all your characters have to have a different accent. Some people can't even do believable accents. Some accents add unintentional humor where you don't particularly want it. But some of your characters could have accents. But they can also have inflection. Certain ways that they say certain things. Maybe when they say a character's name, or all names, it goes up at the end. Forge. Or perhaps they have inflection on, they slow their words down a little bit when they're trying to be serious. Maybe they punctuate their words in an interesting way. I don't really want to go to the store. It's about needing to go to the store. Even though that might sound kitschy and strange as I'm sitting here doing it, well, I'm not primarily an actor. Inflections can make characters stand out from each other. Should you really have a line of dialogue that could be said by anyone? Or should that line of dialogue be so true to that character that it builds them up in the viewer's minds? It makes them a fan favorite. Poise. Poise is about how a character holds him or herself, how an actor, being a character, holds him or herself. Do they fidget? Do they talk with their hands? Do they shift back and forth from foot to foot? What is their poise? Are they very still and elegant? Is their chin always up? Are they always kind of looking down at others? Maybe not in an arrogant way. That's just the way they hold themselves. Poise, in some ways, is who and what our character is when they aren't speaking. You don't want an actor to just stand in the frame and stare. They must always be their character, and we need to see that in the way they hold their body, in their poise. Movement. A lot of times, especially in independent film and web series, we have to keep in mind that movement can be simulated and affected by our camera. For instance, a couple of classes ago, the camera angle was slightly wrong, and so I was cut right about at my eye level. Well, that's part of the homegrown nature of the Forge It workshop series. I don't have a camera operator here, and that wasn't something that I caught. So movement, though you might say, well, the most important thing with movement is what the camera operator is doing, but I'm talking about the way actors move. You say, we just dealt with that with poise. No, poise is how an actor stays still in many ways. Movement is the little movements they might make. Now, you could say, but Jennifer, you said poise is, do they speak with their hands? Yes, absolutely, but I mean movement. When they sit down in a chair, how do they sit? When they walk across a room, how do they walk? If poise is what a character does when their feet are relatively still, movement is when their feet are moving. How do they move? Do they walk confidently? Do they walk briskly? If they're in a wheelchair, do they move in a jerky motion, very confident, very, come on, let's go, impatient? If they are teaching a class, do they stand very stiffly and then pace back and forth, back and forth? Movement. How do they move? Improv. You can say, how can you possibly put notes on a character sheet about improv? Well, you can't. This was my little midsection of our character sheets to kind of throw out there. Improv. It is one of the best things that you can do with your actors. If you don't have the time or the money or the location to do the rehearsals, if you can't even do the table read, do improv. Have your actors get together, tell them, okay, get into character, be your character now, and put them in a room and have them interact. Improv. Sure, fine. If they struggle, give them some notes. Say, the scene is, there is a paranormal pizza hidden somewhere in the room. You guys know it, but you don't know how it got there, and you don't know what it's going to do. Go for it. How will they speak? They don't have to be writers to know how their character will speak. They don't even have to be incredible award-winning actors to know how their character will speak. They simply need to have thought about their character. And you know what? The way they improv their character, the way they make believe and make stuff up for their character, tells you how much thought they've put into their character. And if they can't do it, then take the extra time to take that actor aside and help them understand their character better. It's so important. And that's why I put it right in the middle. You know, you might have a character sheet that says improv, and you can check it off if the actor is real good at it, if they fully understand their character. All right, let's move right along to things actually on our character sheet, our character profiles. Expressions. Is there a particular expression that your character uses that you like just that character to use? A little grimace, a squinting of the eyes, a sniff, for instance? There are little expressions like that that you might want exclusively for single characters. Again, it helps them stand out. If there's a beaming smile that you love it when one actor does, it looks great on the character, then run with that. List those special, unique expressions on your character sheet, character profile. Habits. Habits are things that you might say, well, now we're going back to poise, habits, talking with your hands. Yes, again, you can divide these things across lots of lines. But I mean habits such as, do they tug at an ear? Do they always pick up and drink out of a coffee mug when they're talking? Do they say Things like that. Habits like that. Things that they might do or say. Do they have a catchphrase? Again, try to keep them unique for the characters. We have a character in Epic Heroes Forge who says, no more tuba, when she means, enough with this ridiculousness, let's go on. And I don't particularly like to have other characters say that line because I want it to be her catch line, her little habit line, even though we have broken that rule occasionally. Appearance. This again is a huge, unique element. Do they always wear their hair to the side? If they always wear their hair to the side, don't have another character do that. Appearances should be unique. Does this character always wear dresses? Does this character always wear pink? Does this character always wear a cowboy hat? Appearance. Don't double up on those appearance elements. You don't want your characters to blend together. Your team, if you have a team of characters, should be cohesive because they're interesting the way they interact and interlock and work together, not because they're all the same. You want unique, exciting characters that have as many unique elements in each of these 6 sections and whose actors can improv their character. That's your ultimate goal. That's what you want to look for. So think about that when you're casting. Sure, it's easy to cast our friends and family, but even ask them, push them, do they fully inhabit their character? Can they fully embody what you're looking for? You want your project to be sincere and powerful. They may love your project, but if they can't embody the character in a sincere, realistic way, then you want to respectfully look for someone else. It's hard decisions to make casting, but you can do it. And that ends Class 11.